the Costa Concordia, a behemoth of the seas, a floating palace promising luxury and adventure. For the 4,252 souls on board, it was the start of a dream Mediterranean cruise. They embarked with anticipation. They dreamt of sun-drenched days and enchanting evenings. The ship was their ticket to bliss. This journey, however, would become a nightmare. The ship was a marvel of modern engineering. It boasted opulent cabins, gourmet dining, and endless entertainment. Passengers, a tapestry of nationalities and ages, mingled on the decks. Laughter filled the air. The atmosphere buzzed with excitement as the ship slipped away from the port, leaving a trail of shimmering water. The promise of the open sea lay ahead, a promise soon to be shattered. The first days of the journey unfolded as planned. Passengers basked in the warmth of the Mediterranean sun. They dined on exquisite meals and danced under the starlit sky. But on the evening of January 13th, 2012, a sense of unease settled over the ship. Captain Francesco Schettino, a man known for his flamboyance, made a fateful decision. He ordered a deviation from the planned course. The reason? A sail-past salute to the island of Giglio. It was a reckless maneuver, bringing the massive vessel too close to the treacherous coastline. The crew seemed uneasy. Their apprehension was palpable, but their captain, confident and accustomed to deference, ignored their concerns. His recklessness would have dire consequences. The night was dark, the sea deceptively calm. At 9:45 p.m. the unthinkable happened. The deafening screech of metal against rock ripped through the ship. The Costa Concordia, once a symbol of luxury and grandeur, shuddered violently. Panic erupted. The impact tossed passengers from their seats and sent glasses shattering. The lights flickered and died, plunging the ship into darkness. Screams filled the air, a chorus of terror and disbelief. The once festive atmosphere transformed into a scene of chaos and fear. The ship, mortally wounded, began to list precariously. Confusion reigned in the darkness. The ship tilted further, throwing furniture and people against the walls. The emergency generators sputtered and failed, leaving the passengers in absolute darkness. The public address system crackled to life, but the announcements were garbled and contradictory. Fear turned to panic. The lifeboats, their deployment hampered by the severe tilt of the ship, became scenes of chaos. Mothers clung desperately to their children. The elderly and infirm struggled to stay afloat. The crew, overwhelmed and ill-prepared for a disaster of this magnitude, seemed as lost and terrified as the passengers. It was a night of unimaginable terror. Section 5. Bravery amidst chaos. In the face of unimaginable fear, heroism emerged. Passengers disregarding their own safety helped others reach the lifeboats. Crew members, overcoming their initial shock, worked tirelessly to evacuate the stricken vessel. Acts of selflessness and courage shone through the darkness. Manrico Giampadroni, a pastry chef, calmed terrified passengers and guided them to safety. Maria Dintrono, a young dancer, gave up her spot in a lifeboat to an elderly woman. These stories of courage and compassion, whispered amidst the chaos, offered a glimmer of hope in the face of tragedy. Section 6. The Captain's Shame. As the ship sank lower in the water, a shocking truth emerged. Captain Schettino, responsible for the lives of everyone on board, had abandoned his post. He had left his passengers and crew to fend for themselves. His actions defied the very essence of maritime law and tradition. The captain, duty-bound to be the last one off a sinking ship, had become a symbol of cowardice and negligence. His feeble excuses, claiming he had tripped and fallen into a lifeboat, only deepened the sense of outrage and betrayal. His actions cast a dark shadow over the heroism displayed by so many that night. Section 7. Rescue at Sea. As news of the disaster spread, a massive rescue operation swung into action. Italian Coast Guard vessels, aided by local fishing boats and ferries, raced to the scene. Helicopters clattered overhead, their searchlights piercing the darkness as they searched for survivors in the churning waters. The survivors, many injured and traumatized, huddled together on the shores of Giglio Island. The islanders, witnessing the tragedy unfolding off their coast, opened their homes and hearts to the survivors. They offered food, blankets, and words of comfort. Amidst the devastation, the spirit of human compassion shone brightly. Section 8. Justice and Accountability. The world watched in horror as the full extent of the disaster became clear. 32 lives were lost that night. The Costa Concordia, once a symbol of luxury, lay on its side, a tragic monument to human error and negligence. The investigation into the disaster revealed a cascade of failures. Captain Schettino's reckless actions, the delayed evacuation, and the lack of proper safety procedures all contributed to the tragedy. The Italian justice system moved swiftly. Schettino was arrested and charged with manslaughter, causing a shipwreck and abandoning ship. His trial, a media sensation, captivated the world. Section 9. Legacy of the Concordia. The Costa Concordia disaster sent shockwaves throughout the maritime industry. The tragedy exposed critical flaws in safety regulations and emergency procedures. It forced a long overdue reckoning with the industry's complacency. In the aftermath of the disaster, new safety regulations were implemented. Passenger safety briefings were made mandatory, lifeboat capacity was increased, crew training was enhanced. The legacy of the Costa Concordia lives on in these changes, a stark reminder of the human cost of negligence and the enduring need for vigilance at sea. The disaster also left an indelible stain on the reputation of Costa Cruises. The company, once synonymous with luxury and elegance, became associated with tragedy and incompetence. The name Costa Concordia became synonymous with disaster, a cautionary tale whispered wherever seafaring stories are told.